Something astonishing just happened, and it rivals the GFC that happened in 2008, 2009. One of the most powerful economic indicators is throwing up flashing warning signs to all investors. Stick around to the end of the video to learn about these three things that might help you reposition your portfolio for the rest of the year and for next year. Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Ali, and the new data that just dropped is painting a grim picture. There's massive payroll revisions, tumbling bond yields, and sky-high valuations. Stick around to find out about this information that you need to know now. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the like button and ring the bell so that you can get these analysis before everyone. There's a lot of stories that we put out that other channels are only catching up to now. Check out the channel for the 52 trillion financial bomb that might be dropping anytime in the next 2 years. First up is the Bureau of Labor Statistics quietly slashing nearly 1 million jobs from its headline figures. This is worse than the 2009 downward revision. Look at this trend. It went from nearly 700,000 new jobs in 2021 to just around 165,000 jobs last year. And if you don't know, the American economy requires at least 150,000 jobs to be added monthly in order for the economy to sustain itself. When job creation turns negative outside of extraordinary events, and we're talking about acts of God and other events that are unpredictable and have no foot inside of the financial system, something like a hurricane, something like an earthquake, something like a war. Those are extraordinary events that are not born within the financial system. It almost always signals contraction. Since consumer spending drives 70% of GDP, and you heard that right, the US economy is 70% driven by consumers. And when those consumers get fewer paychecks, that means there's weaker demand for products outside of the necessities like food, shelter, heat, electricity, and so on. Lower corporate revenues are also going to drive layoffs in a vicious cycle that keeps the downward trend going in what I call the doom loop. We need to analyze what this means in more detail. The next signal is bond yields. And contrary to what you might have heard on mainstream media, what's happening in the bond market is sending us a flashing red sign. Now, if we look at the 2-year Treasury yield, it dropped from 4.24% to 3.54%. And the 10-year Treasury also dropped from 4.56% to 4.08%. Even the 30-year Treasury dropped by 5 basis points. The decline shows that investors are seeking safety, betting on weaker growth and inflation in the future. Even more revealing, the Fed's reverse repo facility pays right now 4.25%. This repo facility for beginners is where institutions can park their cash with the Fed, and the Fed will pay them 4.25% on their money. Now, if you ask yourself, why would institutions not put their money in a federal facility and get 4.25%, and instead they're buying 2-year treasuries, which are only doing 3.54%, and 10-year treasuries, which are doing 4.08%? That's because they know something is coming. And the more the Federal Reserve cuts rates, the less money they will make parking their cash. So they're locking in on higher numbers right now in those treasuries to make sure they can weather the storm that's coming, because the Federal Reserve is definitely going to try to save the economy. Next is the third and final sign, and that is the valuation in the market and the crash risk. Historically, steep market declines in 1974, 2000, 2008 coincided with PE ratios above 20. In contrast, in the 1980s recession, we saw minimal losses when the valuation was just near 8. Today, the S&P 500 trades at nearly 29 PE ratio. These are levels that precede major bear markets. Combining this weak job data and bond signals, I am putting this at an 80 to 85% chance that we are in or we are entering a recession. However, the chance of a swift, deep crash over 20% in the market is less than 20%, since a severe talent downturn is going to prompt aggressive Fed and fiscal response. If instead we get a mild, slow bleed recession, the odds of a 30 to 40% crash in the market could rise to 40 to 50%. And combining these three signals, you need to know how to spot this stuff so that you can position your portfolio in a way that can save your money. Don't just ride this out. You need to be prepared with strategies that work in a slowing market. There are a number of things you can do. I'm going to list them in the description for beginners and intermediates. And if you are managing your own portfolio, if you don't want to worry about these things, you need to have someone else manage your money so that you can safeguard your assets. Thanks for tuning in and watching till the end of the video. This is a growing channel, and I would really love your support. Please subscribe and share this channel with your friends who might want to know about this information. Let me know in the comments, how would you, if you were an investor, tackle this problem? And are you prepared for what's coming next? Until next time, stay diversified, stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next episode.